with the lark. I think I'll take a walk in the park. Hey, 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 it's a beautiful day. Good morning and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View. Yes, it is game day. Back to the bread and butter of Scottish football. Back to the bread and butter of Scottish football. And back to how we earn our crust and how we win league titles. And talking about winning league titles, today is a momentous day, an absolutely momentous day. When we talk about people who've won many titles, we think about Billy McNeill. Today, Callum McGregor. Yes, Callum McGregor makes his 500th appearance. 500th appearance in a Celtic strip. He's won 23 medals as Celtic. The Celtic captain will go down as one of the legends of Celtic due to the game time that he's played and the games he's played and the medals that he's won. And whilst players come and go, and fanciful players with fanciful names from fanciful locations and far off destinations around the world come to play at Celtic, there are players that live and breathe Celtic. Players that want to stay at Celtic no matter what. And today we should be celebrating the likes of Callum McGregor. Never mind players that come through the B team and that want to go off and see the riches of elsewhere. It seems that we're at an end of an era with a dying breed of Celtic players. Of young players that come through the system that are just like me and you. We love the Celtic too. Younger players see the bright lights of the English Premiership and the English Championship and the money that could be made. But the truth be told, for all the money in the world, at the end of the day, if you're sitting with no championships medals and no winner medals, no winners medals at all, does that make it worth it? There's been many players that have had plenty of money throughout their career and ended up with nothing after the football career. Callum McGregor will end up with both. He'll end up with the cash that he's banked over the years, and he'll end up with the winners' medals. And that is what we should be celebrating. Brendan Rodgers will get to the end of this transfer window and he will say, let's focus on what we have here. And that's what Brendan Rodgers will say come Tuesday morning. Let's focus on what we have here. If Celtic do manage to get in other players in the next day or so, so be it. Nothing like leaving it late. There is one piece of transfer action that kicking around this morning. Obviously, Celtic have made a bid for a winger, another winger, and that has been knocked back. Brendan Rodgers says he knows nothing about it. But they have said that things could happen quickly. There's a left back that Celtic were looking at who was on his way to Benfica, but that deal is now off. And Manchester United are still looking to loan the player out. Running around at the end of the transfer window when we've let 6 first-team players leave the club over the last 6 months, and we've watered down the squad as much as we have. Bringing in players on loan to the end of the season isn't an ideal answer, and it's not the answer of building from strength. But today we have to rely on the likes of Kasper Schmeichel and Sinisalo as backup. We'll have a first team back four of Alistair Johnson, Greg Taylor, Austin Trusty, Cameron Carter-Vickers. That will be our back four. Martin Orobski, who wants away from Celtic, let's face it, will more than likely be on the bench today, along with Liam Scales. And that's the only backup defenders that you're going to have, along with Tony Ralston. In the midfield, we'll have a couple of players on the bench that can turn games. I think the starting midfield will be Arne Engels, Rio Hatate and Callum McGregor. James Forrest isn't quite fit yet, so that leaves Paulo Bernardo and Luke McCown on the bench. And then up front, on the wings, we'll have Kuhn. He'll start the game along with Dyson Maida. Dyson Maida, who it looks like we're trying to replace. The fact that Celtic are so adamant to try and get in another winger in this window, to me suggests that there's every chance that we may lose Dyson Maida or Kuhn in the summer. that's a chat for another day, but I reckon that the front three will be Adam, Ida, Kuhn and Dyson Maeda. For Jota to get a start later on, he'll come on later on, and that will leave Yang on the bench. That will leave Yang on the bench with Jota on the bench and Johnny Kenny on the bench, who's finding himself in a bit of a Liam Scales position. Johnny Kenny is finding himself in a bit of a Liam Scales position. He wasn't meant to be at Celtic right now. He was meant to be on loan, getting game time and building himself. But he finds himself thrust into that second role as a striker at Celtic. Because, like Liam Scales was at the time, he's the last man standing. And that's the reality. When Brendan Rodgers came into Celtic and we had all these players that came in and they were unfit and the sick bed was piled up with defenders, Liam Scales found himself as last man standing. He thought he was away to Aberdeen. He thought he was going to have to leave Celtic to get some more game time. But he was last man standing in defence. Johnny Kenny now finds himself as last man standing as the strike force for Celtic, which is an unbelievable position for a club like Celtic to be in. To have only one recognised first team striker, we're now relying on a player that was loaned out from Celtic because he wasn't deemed to have the physicality, to have the experience to play up front for Celtic, to have the goal scoring prowess. But now he's in the team. So Brendan Rodgers will say, let's focus on what we have here. Hopefully we will get some players at the end of the window, but I think it's going to be a strange old day on Monday, tomorrow, the last day of the window. And as it stands just now, we head to Motherwell. We head to Motherwell, and let's just hope that we win the game. Because if we slip up anything, within the next 2 months, within the next month, I think that Brendan Rodgers, not so much Brendan Rodgers, but I think the board will feel a backlash from the fans of disapproval and disappointment. But let's see what happens with the window tomorrow. You never know. Celtic might get in. You might get in a couple of players on loan to the end of the season. Whoopee. Anyway, Fabrizio Romano, he has come out and said that Manchester United start. Anyway, we've done that. Anyway, it's good work. We're talking about Callum McGregor again. For the record, those comments that Callum McGregor said, he said, nothing changes for me. Nothing changes. Winning titles has gone hand in hand with McGregor's time at Celtic. And the fact that he's on 23 medals. 23 medals. He's had 499 appearances. With a contract until 2028, McGregor's influence in Trophy Hall shows no sign of relenting, this says, as he closes in on the all-time Celtic winners list. Only James Forrest and Bobby Lennox remain above him on 22. Lennox and McNeil, of course, won the biggest of all in 1967. There's no chance of Callum McGregor ever winning the Champions League with Celtic, not with the current board in situ. And I'll give, before people say you can't have a dig at the board, we can give the board can take all the plaudits. The board can take all the plaudits at once when it comes to the finances and the running of the club. But the board also has to take the criticism on board when we have a window like this. I mean, I'll reiterate again, the players that are out on loan that would have been on the bench today. Stephen Welsh, Gustav Lagerbielke, Odom Ohm, Kwon, Lewis Palmer. That's 5 players taken from the bench. 5 players from the bench. 5 players that were bought in for good money. Now, Lewis Palmer's never returned to Celtic. He's gone. That ship has sailed. His number has been stripped from him because Celtic do not expect him to come back. And I just think it is unbelievable. It's unbelievable that we've still got Marco Tilio on the books. I think he's been away from Celtic for 2 years now. But it is what it is. We do face Motherwell today, and that is my team. That is the team that I predict will start today. Callum McGregor, 11 p.m. on Monday, the board statement, we tried. Yeah, Chill, Paul, you're right. Anyway, back to the old days when we have signed a few players just before the Champions League qualifying. Not good enough. It's not good enough, Adrian. It's not. I hope you're good, mate. It's not good enough. I'm not want to talk about the transfer market today because I just think that, Kyogo wanted away, so Ren says we want Kyogo. No, Jota, the board rolled over. Or no Jota. Yeah, pretty much. Joe, that's right. That's the way that I see it. I think they're trying, but half-hearted, not good enough for the club. I think the fact that they leave negotiations till the later part of the transfer window, if they've identified the players that they want, they should be making immediate moves as soon as the transfer window opens, and never mind thrashing out negotiations and making offers and putting in low ball offers. I mean, I'm seeing there's a lot of transfer. It's not as if the transfer market's quiet. I mean, you can go onto Twitter and you see all the transfers that are actually happening. You know, I mean, even Aston Villa, they've brought in Marcus Rashford from Man United. Marcus Rashford from Man United, and then they've got the buy option clause at 40 million. It just puts things into perspective, really, where Celtic are. And there's lots of deals going around the market that Celtic would be in. The price range that we would be in, the sort of the 8 to 15 million pound price bracket. There's plenty of business going on around there. I mean, there's one Porto to sign Thomas Perez for a package of 4 million. 19-year-old for 4 million. There's plenty of players and there's plenty of business happening in the price range that Celtic would be talking about. But as it stands, we're getting to the end of the window, and let's not fall for the BS that the board will put out there. I mean, when it comes to Monday night and it comes to tomorrow night, and we're sitting watching the countdown, and we're sitting watching if the lights will go on at Celtic Park. Let's enjoy the players coming in, but let's not be overexcited, because let's face it, it's not been a good window. They can butter it up as much as they want. They could butter it up as much as they want, but it's not been a good transfer window for Celtic. Known for months, Kyogo was wanting away. Slept at the wheel again. Piss poor attitude from the board, says Big Bruce. It is that. Michael Sinclair says, greedy bastards. All the money, and they want to play extra couple of million. The league isn't done yet. There's a lot of. I was confident as anything coming up to the end of January, because I thought if we keep all our main players and we get in we strengthen the squad, like what we knew we needed to do, right? We needed to strengthen the squad, but we don't know what's going on in the background. And for me now, the big fear is that Celtic sell Kuhn under Brendan's nose. Dyson Maeda puts in a transfer, he wants away. Rio Hitati wants away. If you take the heart out of this team now, we're now on a rebuild. And that's not what we needed. We didn't need a rebuild. And we understand that players will come and go, and not everybody's going to be a James Forrest, not everybody's going to be a Tony Ralston, not everybody's going to be, dare I say it, the third choice keeper that just stays at Celtic for the hell of it. No, I'm not saying that we won't lose the league, Chill, but I'm saying that the league isn't done and dusted. I'm not saying that I've never said, Chill Paul, I've never said we'll lose the league. I've never said that. But I've said it's not done and dusted. We're not over the line. Far from it. There's a lot of football, and we're a weaker team. And we're going to today to play at a ground that's generally a hard ground to play at. And now that they've had to change manager, they've got Stevie Friel on the bench today. He knows a good thing about how to beat Celtic, because he was at Celtic for a while under Brendan Rodgers. The league's in the bag. The league's in the bag, says Sean. How can you say it's in the bag when we've got so many games to play and the squad's weaker? I am not confident that we're going to win the league by 10 points. That's all I'll say. I am not confident that we'll win the league by 10 points. We might win it by one, but let's see what happens today. You're right, Paul. It is all about today. It's a bank holiday in the UK tomorrow. That doesn't matter. The transfer window shuts tomorrow. Let's just hope that fucking Michael Nicholson gets his fucking finger in gear. The transfer window closes tomorrow. There's business to be done. Doesn't matter if it's a bank holiday. They'll be in there and they better get some work done. Plenty of games left to draw and lose games. Exactly. The league's definitely over, especially with the thinner squad. Mark, you're a man that talks sense. Hope McCowan gets in and Bernardo gets a shout today. If McCowan and Bernardo, he's Chilpel. He has to go with his strongest team. He has to go with the strongest starting 11. And with due respect to Luke McCowan and Paulo Bernardo, they're not the strongest starting 11 that we have. I mean, the strongest starting 11 that we have in the middle of the field is, whether you like it or not, it's Callum McGregor, it's Rio Hatate, and it's Arne Engels. And until Rio Hatate leaves in the summer, Paulo Bernardo's not going to get a shot week in, week out. And it'll be interesting to see what happens with Luke McCowan. And the squad is looking thin. That's all I'm saying. But anyway, there's not a lot of Celtic news kicking about because, let's face it, Celtic do not even have a clue what they're doing. And Brendan Rodgers will say before the game today, he'll get interviewed and he'll say, yeah, there's lots going on in the background. Yeah, there's fucking players leaving, Brendan. There's players leaving quicker than you could say, how's your breakfast this morning? It's just unbelievable. The fact that Brendan Rodgers had to play a player that ultimately wants away from Celtic and he doesn't see his future at Celtic in the Champions League tells us everything that we need to know about the squad. The fact that Celtic had to play Daniel Cummins as soon as Adam Ida went down in the box after he made that stretch when he tried to kick the ball back across the front of the goal. As soon as he felt his calf then, Brendan Rodgers has got one choice to make, and that's like, get Adam Ida off and just put Daniel Cummins off. We cannot afford to have Adam Ida injured. Could you imagine if Adam Ida gets injured today? You know, people are saying, the league's done. Adam Ida pulls a hamstring today. We're left with Johnny Kenny, and that's it. Daniel Cummins will be away in the next 24 hours. He doesn't want to be at Celtic. He's signing a pre-contract with West Ham. If Adam Ida, cover him with everything you have, big man. If Adam Ida pulls a hamstring today, we are up shit creek without a paddle. That's the severity of where the squad is. That's why I'm saying I'm not confident of us winning the league by 10 points. Because the squad is that thin that we're bringing in... we don't even know. I mean, who else can you bring in? You've got Johnny Kenny then as your main striker. You're depressing me, Baz. Well, it's a sense of reality. I think that the fans need a sense of reality of where the club is actually at now. And I think that it's not one step forward and two steps backwards. I think it's been 3 or 4 steps forward under the last couple of years, and we thought that we were in a fantastic position, and we started, you can actually see that, wow, we're going places. And we've just went 5 steps back. That's Dyson Maeda as striker. If he could stay on the pitch. Chilwell, not a chance. McCowan can't get enough time on the pitch to prove himself. Getting 10 minutes here and there is absolutely pathetic. It is. Imagine if he'd have shanked one on us, but not a chance. That'll never happen. Still got Maeda and Kuhn. We were heavily relying on Maeda and Kuhn. And as teams set up, now, looking at it from a tactical point of view, if you're an opposing team and the 2 strongest players that Celtic have are Kuhn and Dyson Maeda, the first thing as an opposition manager you do is you double up. You double up every time that Kuhn gets the ball, 2 or 3 is right onto him. Forget the rest of the pitch, just make sure that he can't move. Same with Dyson. You're man marking him, and then the full back is then putting pressure on him as well. You get a midfield player man marking Dyson Maeda, and then you get the full back making sure that it doesn't get the runs forward. You nullify both of them out of the game. Brendan Rodgers doesn't have the players to overcome that. It's as simple as that. It's embarrassing for the team who've just qualified for the Champions League knockouts. It is. Doc Boy, it is. Don't forget Carlin Carter-Vickers and Jota were also last-minute signings. Yeah. One injury away from disaster, I think. I think Dane Murray will be on the bench regular now. Yes, he will. Dane Murray will be on the bench regular, but will fans forgive him? We didn't sign Jota to make up the numbers. No, we didn't sign Jota to make up the numbers, but I think Jota has been brought in just now to protect us for an impending departure in the summer. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That Celtic aren't going out looking for two wingers in this window if they're not expecting departures in the summer. And I think one of those departures will be Dyson Maeda. And if a big bid comes in for Nico Kuhn, Celtic will take it. Because Celtic are not guaranteed football in the Champions League next year. We have to go through the qualifiers. And every time we get in this position, we sell our best players. We sell Matt O'Reilly because we got 25 million. The Celtic model is to buy them in cheap and sell them. And the thoughts that any of us have about building a squad that can go on to do something, it's just no point anymore. There's no point. We'd be as well just accepting, but we are just accepting. As fans, we are accepting. I mean, that mob across the city are accepting being second best. We are accepting just having a little good, a bit of a run in the champion, and then to make it even worse, to rub salt into the wounds of how we're expected to feel as Celtic fans and what we're expected to just get on with, is you'll have the board then blame the fans. Or Pyro's stopping the fans getting into European games. You're not helping the team. Wow. You're not helping the team. You're not helping the team by setting off Pyro. If anyone at Celtic comes out and says that after this window, you couldn't give them a brass neck with a blowtorch, honestly. Sometimes thinks Brendan Rodgers, and then I think, what the fuck is he doing? Yeah. Martin Weir says, now Kyogo is gone, Hitati and Maeda will go in the summer. Yes, I believe that. I think they will. But we'll have millions for replacements. Martin, we have millions in the bank just now. We have millions. You could do a fucking Trump impersonation. Millions and millions and millions. We've got 100 million in the bank. We shouldn't be in this situation that we're in. Thank God McCarthy is still polishing Loyal's knob. We might need him. Dyson is irreplaceable. Nobody has his pace and work rate. Jason Lee. Come the summer, we may not have him. Baz. You're on the time of the month. Nope, empty Celtics. I'm just talking. I think that we need a wake-up call. I think Celtic fans need a wake-up call. There's no use painting it's all rosy in the garden. Brendan Rodgers will say, he'll say, let's focus on what we have here. You can guarantee he says that on Tuesday or next Friday, because he'll not get a press conference. No, we've got a midweek game this week, haven't we? So it'll be Tuesday. When we get the press conference on Tuesday, Brendan Rodgers will say, let's just focus on what we've got here. It was a difficult window. But anyway, and people need to get a reality check. I'm not going to paint a picture of all conquering Celtic when we're at a weaker position. Anyway, Joseph Davis is saying spot on. That's why that annoys me most. We've got millions in the bank, but we still penny pinch, says Baz Martins. What the fuck are you talking about? Anyway, there isn't a lot of Celtic news kicking around this morning. It's going to be interesting. West Ham at an advanced chat. I would know that. I just said. They're just going on about Daniel Cummins. Anyway, what we are. Let's go back into it. Maeda could start in the left wing, then move into central striker when Adam Ida goes off. I think that we have to start playing. The simple fact is we have to start giving Johnny Kenny game time. Johnny Kenny will get game time. Never mind putting Dyson Myra through the middle. Johnny Kenny's the only recognised striker we have. We have to keep him. We have to give him the game time rather than putting Dyson Myra through the middle. So it's simple as that. 3-0. Give me your score line. Give me your score line. After Celtic conceded more goals again this week. We've been conceding quite a few goals after having a fantastic start to the season and only conceding 4 goals all season. The back line is now letting in goals on a regular basis. Can't wait to see how the next couple of weeks is going to be exciting, says Martin. They must have known Cummins was moving on. I should sell him out. Exactly. I've said that, Chilpel. Daniel Cummins will get moved on today. I think he'll be sold today to West Ham just to get the money in the door. Cummins won't get a start. West Ham team, no chance. Of course he's not. They see him as one for the future. But the difference is that one for the future, they're going to pay him $8,000 or something. You know, Celtic are trying to pay him 5. Look at James Rennes at Hearts. Taylor goes. Taylor will be here to the end of the season, and then he'll walk away for nothing. Yang either Kalmat to score or 3-0 win today. And I think it's going to be Motherwell 1. Celtic 2. I'm going for Motherwell 1, Celtic 2. It's always a hard ground to play at Motherwell. That sloping pitch that slopes that stupid angle. I think it's always a hard game at Motherwell, but I think it's going to be a close game. I think Celtic will score first. Motherwell could even say that Motherwell might score first. Motherwell are going to have to come out today to prove that they're not a rotten club and their manager leaving. They're going to have to come out and have a right good go. And I think they will. MT Celtics 4-0 today. I think Taylor will sign Baz. I'm not too sure. But even if he does, is he prepared to then just sit on the bench and fight it out with Kieran Tierney? You've got to weigh it up. Is he prepared to sit on the bench and fight it out with Kieran Tierney on a week-to-week basis? Stephen Welsh wasn't prepared to do that. He's left. There's lots of other players that have been loaned out that aren't prepared to do that. One of those weekends, 7-0 all over it. Not a chance, Martin Weir. Stephen Johnson's going for 4-0. Anglin Ayrshire is going for 2-0 Celtic. Chilpel's going for 3-0 Celtic. Paul Hogan's going for 3-0 Celtic. It's important we score first, yes. It is important we score first. We will win the game ultimately, but I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think. You'll never walk alone. Paradise says 5-0 Celtic. Mark says 2-1 difficult game. That's what I think, Mark. Scoosh is going for 3-2 Celtic. My first away game was at Motherwell many moons ago. We won 5-0. I love going to Motherwell. You park away up in the industrial estate, you walk down to the ground, and you get the 2 tiers in the stadium. It's a good way. It's good away ground. Good away ground. They both won't play every game. They both won't play every game, but Brendan Rodgers likes to keep a solid back four. I'm worried about today with a tough Euro tie. I'll be happy with a 1-0 win. Yes, it could be the European hangover. It could be the European hangover that gets Celtic today. Because let's face it, it got West Ham. It got Aston Villa yesterday. Aston Villa got beat yesterday. So there could be the European hangover, and that's what I'm thinking. Christopher is going for 3-1 Celtic. Mobley is going for 4-0 Celtic. Michael Sinclair is going for 3-0 Celtic. Cameron Carter-Vickers, big toe. He'll be playing left back this week. 25 grand a week for sitting on the bench. Greg Taylor will get lots of game time. He should stay. He's not getting 25 grand to sit on the bench. Not a chance. 4-1 Celtic. Simon Island's going for 3-1 Celtic. Ty Timms is going for 2-2 draw. Please don't draw today. Please don't drop any points. If we drop points, and I tell you one thing, it's going to be an interesting game midweek. We'll test Bayern and maybe even sneak a win. Well, let's be honest. That could be a long night. Against Bayern Munich. I don't even want to think about that yet. I want to just make sure that we get back to winning ways in the league, and we get a team that has players that can come off the bench and make a difference. because we don't have that just now. We've got one player that will be able to come off and make a difference, and that'll be Jota. And will that be enough for Celtic? Hopefully. Make sure no drop points even before the next Sevco game. Don't even remind me that's coming up. Chilpel says the hangover cure is to mix it up, starting the lineup. Maida will be super powered. Celtic winning anything will do. Ripping me out now. Taylor now finds himself in an amazing negotiation position. He does. Taylor is right now is the safest player at Celtic, with the only recognised left back at the club. Taylor now finds himself in an unbelievable position. He's the only guaranteed first choice pick, because Brendan Rodgers has no other left back that can compete with him. And it's a crazy situation that we find ourselves in, and especially going out to try and get a loan player to cover the left back position till the end of the season. I heard last night the Greg Taylor and Celtic contract agreement. What was that? It was getting close. Of course, it's getting close. With no other left back, with no other left back. Of course, it's going to get close. It's going to get unbelievably close. All of a sudden, Greg Taylor's got all the cards. If you're a poker player, Greg Taylor's sitting with the best hand. Greg Taylor's sitting with the best hand at the table right now. He's the safest player in the club position-wise, because there's nobody that is from a club perspective. Celtic cannot afford now to lose Greg Taylor in this window. It's as simple as that. We cannot afford to lose Greg Taylor. So his agent can turn around and say, by the way, I'm in talks with whatever club, and they've offered 23 grand a week. Are you going to match that, Celtic? They want to take him to this week. Don't know. The negotiation skills of Michael Nicholson need severely looked at for us to be in this position. Jota won't get more than 20 minutes. No, he won't get more than 20 minutes. Every Celtic I've spoken to are not happy about the Kyogo situation, says Anthony Beattie. He says he should have remained. The problems as it stands are our squad is weaker, which is an absolute joke. Yes, it is. Hope Jota makes his appearance. I think he will today. He'll get a little cameo on the pitch. 1-0 Celtic. Hope Rodgers either bans corporate from paradise until no more players in Europe. Yeah. I wonder if they'll pay the fine. I don't think he'll play Jota until we're at home. I'm not too sure. It depends on how the game is going today. It might be a case that the game is that tight today that Jota's told to go on and work his magic. Bayern were 4-0 down yesterday to the second bottom sides, and then they came back to 4-3. That's all we need. I think we sold Kyogo with a striker lined up and it's fallen through. Yes, it's the Celtic way. We should have had the striker in the door before we sold Kyogo. Simple as that. High Times beat 1-0. Let's say we're going to get beat 1-0. I hope Taylor signs a new contract and watch the vile haters choke on their words after recent months, says John Paul Murray. If Kyogo wants to leave, let him. He's left. There's no use talking about Kyogo anymore. And there's no use talking about Kyogo anymore. It's a sad situation when a player forces his way at the club, especially at this point in the season. And especially when we had still so much to play for. I mean, Kyogo, whatever Kyogo's decision and why he wanted to go, rather than stay until the end of the season, could you imagine the likes of some of the great players that we've had at Celtic? And you even think about when Paul Lambert left Germany to come to Celtic. Could you imagine if he had left halfway through the season and never got to the Champions League final, never got to win the Champions League and stuff? Do you know, it's absolutely bonkers that Kyogo didn't want to stay and win another treble. Do you know, the trebles don't come along that easy, but we've got a fantastic chance to win a treble this year. But Kyogo didn't want to hang around for it, which is a bit weird. What's Tisdale doing? That needs questioned, to be fair. Brendan does need to be asked that question. The Celtic media now have a catalogue of questions that need to be asked on Tuesday after the window shuts. Will they ask it? No, because they only get one question to ask. And I think that the Celtic fan media need to really sit together and think about the questions that they're going to ask, and questions that fans are really thinking about. Fix the academy, the youth setup. Hitman Hart, do away with the academy. Just do away with it. Celtic are just need to say, we've no fucking B team. We've no B team. Simple as that. Do without it for a couple of years. Leave that white elephant that we're building down the road that was meant for the B team and the women's team is now a waste of money. Do you know? I think spending 20 odd million on a complex down at the old training ground is a complete waste of money. I honestly think it is, unless Celtic are going to hire it out and to the local community to allow them to play indoor football. I think that the academy is just the academy. Brendan Rodgers needs to kick out everyone that's in the academy, and we need to start for fresh. That's the way that I'm now looking at it. When you look at the ex-players that are in the academy as training in the academy, I think it's time to get them out. There's something seriously wrong at academy level. That we can't convince these young players that their future's at Celtic. Whether it's the academy or whether it's Brendan Rodgers, I don't know. Something's wrong anyway. We're going to need another one instead. Matthias isn't coming to Celtic. That's that. The Matthias one. I don't know who's shouting about Matthias, but he's that's not happening. It's not happening. The academy is a waste of time. Costs us more to develop players and then lose them for buttons. Yes, it is. Chill pill. I think that we need to just say, look, empty. Interesting read. Oh, Joylin doesn't miss a bit. Anyway, that's me done and dusted for this morning. I will be back on 1.5 hours. 1.5 hours before kickoff today. Do you know what? Do you know what's really pissing me off? Is all the Celtic fan media writing about, oh, the fucking Villa fucking players loved us. There's a lot fucking more important things going on at Celtic right now than fucking talking about a team that just beat us in the Champions League and how their fucking how their players thought, yeah, they're cracking fans, aren't they? I don't give a shit what Villa fucking players think. They've just beat us in the Champions League, and we've got a lot on our plate right now as Celtic fans to deal with. And never mind just the Celtic fans, but the Celtic board. Anyway, that's me done and dusted for this morning. Baz, you're right. Deal, you got it wrong. Baz, I was right with the Crispy Garden deal, and you got it wrong. If Crispy Garden signs for Celtic in the next 24 hours, there'll be something weird happen, because everybody's saying last night that the deal was gone. Anyway, who cares? It's all about the game today. Celtic head over to Motherwell to play Motherwell at a ground that is always a little bit difficult for us. It's a ground that led to me getting a tattoo the very next day. Fantastic memories. On that note, I shall see you just before an hour and a half before kickoff today till we await what surprises Brendan Rodgers will throw into the bench today, because that's where the surprises will come from. On that note, have a fantastic morning, Celtic fans all around the world. Roll up to the party, roll up to the party.